𝓤𝓪𝓻𝓫 join us today. We are heading to Karnak Temple. Yes, it's very, very interesting today. There is a lot to do, a lot to speak about. Today, I'm actually going to meet the cab driver who played a big part into this stream 3 years ago today. It will be the first time I will see him again. I think we have much to catch up on. And yeah, I will see you guys when we arrive. I will show you the view, and yes, I will see you there.
Hello. You're going to 𝓤𝓻𝓪 now? Okay, just a moment. I came now from 𝓤𝓻𝓪, right? If you'd like, you are Egyptian or? You look Egyptian. You'd like to help you in 𝓤𝓻𝓪? Because that lady here, if you like to talk to her, I help her. She come with me now. She finished.
So I don't need a
England.
guide.
I am not a guide. I give you time there to go with 𝓤𝓻𝓪, to talk to the 𝓤𝓻𝓪, to meditate to the 𝓤𝓻𝓪.
It's Mickey.
Look my name here. I am 45 years in Karnak. Not anybody can stop you here. Only me, because I finished with the. If you'd like to see the lady to talk to her, what I did with her, you can talk to her from England. I met her 6 o'clock. She finished now. 𝓤𝓻𝓪 only. Okay? Okay? 𝓤𝓻𝓪 only. Okay?
Do you know the keepers of the temple here?
Oh, please, I work here.
No, do you know? Because
Yes,
I'm
but-
looking for two, but I will come again on Sunday if they're not here.
Please,
I'm looking
no,
for.
I give
No,
you.
I'm looking for Andy.
We talk later.
Okay.
Enjoy. You see?
Yeah.
After we finish.
I'm
okay?
looking for two keepers of the temple. Last time I was here,
Yes.
I dreamt of them,
Yes.
and then I saw them, and they helped me last time I was here. They
Yes.
took me. 𝓤𝓻𝓪 told me go to Opet. I went to Opet.
If you like today, I do something special for you. Let me know.
Okay, maybe you'll be my guide today. We'll see what 𝓤𝓻𝓪 says.
Trust me.
I trust you.
Thank
I know
you.
we came into alignment for a reason.
No, because 𝓤𝓻𝓪 told me about you.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I don't want this way. If I went, I cannot meet you.
Yeah, I know. That's why I got told to go left as well. To go left.
What from?
London.
God, number one. Welcome.
اسمك ايه؟
علي.
علي. تشرفنا علي.
يا مرحبا.
شرفنا مرحبا تفضل.
تشرفنا.
تفضل مع المشاهد تفضل عم شرف.
Okay, please.
It was in this room 3 years ago. There's something very special happened. It was in this room that I began to see the holographic projection of one's DNA and the cymatic frequencies.
that allowed you to return to that inner standing that I now understand. It was in this room where my story began. It was with 𝓤𝓾, and she wants me to tell my story today, so that's what we're going to do. Last time she told me to hug her, and I thought I was hearing something, and there's a beautiful telepathic connection here. It's a kind of etheric webbing. It's an etheric webbing through the plasma membrane into communication where you receive different currents that are streamlined through these different archetypal manifestations that are encoded into your field within your DNA that are then projected into this energetic hologram. Last time she told me to hug her, I thought she was crazy. It was telepathic. One of the keepers of the temple, who I dreamt about 2 weeks prior, had come and taken my hand and brought me to her and wrapped my arms around her. And I knew in that moment I wasn't crazy. I wasn't just hearing things. Next, she told me to go to 𝓬𝓵𝓸𝓻𝓵 temple. Last time I was here, she kept saying, 𝓬𝓵𝓸𝓻𝓵. 𝓤𝓾, you are a child of light, and remember that. Those who look outside dream, those who look inside for themselves awaken. Are you dreaming? Or are you living in your dream? What she told me about stargates is on her head you can see this star solar system. And what she told me is that this one represents the solar plexus, and it opens up a very specific stargate, which is then projected from this internal vortex into this external hologram. It opens up a celestial gateway, or a travel point of some kind, where it holds a very specific octave or vibrational frequency with corresponding levels of consciousness. And there are different archetypal manifestations that accompany those realms and are encoded into those realms. And when you connect to this internal vortice and this chakra point, the solar plexus, you begin to streamline these different currents of information. And these are different archetypal manifestations that you have within you, that are being depicted through these different deities. So 𝓤𝓾 says the solar plexus is on her head, and this is the stargate, and through all times, through all different planes of consciousness, you're able to also tune into the fractal of yourself that originates and is composed up of the cells from this planetary star system. Different distinct life forms or distinct manifestations, archetypal manifestations of yourself encoded within you. You also tune into this parallel version of yourself existing in these different parallel realities. And she's talking about how you can tune into these different distinct life forms. And these are layered. These dimensions are not actually, these dimensions are frequencies. So they're overlapped with one another. They are not actually spatial concepts as what the brain is formatted to believe. Instead, they are overlayered and encoded within you. And it's when you begin to tune in and open up this portal to projection of the DNA, and the DNA stores the memory of all fragments and soul particles of yourself existing from these different planetary star systems, these different parallel lives. And you begin to tune into those cosmic origins and awaken those cosmic origins. She said to look inside. To awaken is to remember all whom you've ever been. To remember yourself as all that is. You're not separate from these versions of self, they're encoded within you. Last time she sent me into Opeth's temple and we had opened up this stargate. And accompanying those realms of consciousness, those planes of consciousness, you also had different archetypal manifestations where you're also able to streamline those different currents that can even come through different human vessels, crafted by the Elohims originating from plasma to come and engage with the third dimensional realm. There is a counterpart Earth, another layer, another frequency that you're able to attune into by beginning to look at life through the eyes of the soul. And these plasma life forms can cross over into this world to assist the human when it comes to optimal navigation with their life on Earth. But this is one of your many lives, this is not the only one. Your eyes are a window for all versions of self, experiencing life on Earth through your eyes, and as you, Source begins to experience itself, not just through you, but as you. Remember that you're living in your dream and not just dreaming. To awaken within the dream, to gain lucidity within this third dimensional dream, a very dense plane. Is how you take your power back. To awaken within the dream and gain lucidity within the third dimensional realm, one of the densest planes. As you begin to recover this memory and you begin to recover these different members of yourself, not only are you here pulling forward your generational lineage, just one body of consciousness through your own ascension journey, but you also begin to recall your starseed memories as well and pull forward your starseed lineages simultaneously in the same breath, for they're interconnected. There's always an intercommunication as well happening with these other fractals of self that you can entangle with quantumly, these other quantum non-local connections that are able to guide your journey on Earth. This octave of self, this version of self, is existing at a high level of understanding, is able to see the full landscape of what we call time here, and time is the distance between two events. That time begins to collapse on itself when you remember as existing from point A and point B. It's the fusion that's happening, where consciousness is beginning to wake up. This fusion that is happening between the non-physical and the physical aspect of self. The divine feminine, divine masculine, to create mastery, not just over the mind, masculine, and the emotions, feminine, but also over the third dimensional realm and the way that you choose to interact while engaging and navigating this cosmic overlay over the earth, over Gaia. There are specific instructions that you will receive to be aligned with optimal timelines. They're in the soul's best interest. They're in alignment with the soul's initial intentions when incarnating into this physical realm, as your higher self incarnating into this physical vessel. Remember yourself not just as the vessel, but the timeless consciousness that's navigating life on Earth, utilizing this vessel. And when you tune into these different vortice points, you begin to look at life on Earth through these different fractals of self expressing themselves through you. And those initial intentions, clearing up this dense debris, this dense matter inside of the physical vessel, allows you to recover the memory of all whom you've ever been. You're streamlining different currents of information. Each level of consciousness, in each realm and plane of consciousness, you have corresponding life forms and archetypal manifestations encoded into that field.
Yes. And the first time, she's happy today because but the other man at home now.
I know. That's why she told me to come on Sunday. Today is Easter, right?
Yes.
Easter.
You happy, she's happy, yes.
It's consciousness where awareness is source has fractalized itself into separate streams of awareness that begin to become conscious of themselves.
Yes.
And these different plasma life forms can cross over into this realm and they can intercommunicate. Different human vessels can begin to streamline different currents of information. And even within their multidimensional field,
wisdom.
And they sourced this wisdom and this intercommunication where they can even they can cross over these realms and can actually assist one another. It's all an interconnected blueprint, like the web of Indra. These different netters.
Blessed. BLESSED. Blessed.
Blessed.
Yes, blessed.
Blessed.
Yes.
They were blessings.
Blessing, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Corridor of safe passage opens up.
That's right.
By galactic brothers and sisters, whether they're aware of it or not. It's being able to work with one another and seeing how everyone is working with you in this co-creation to assist. Being at the perfect alignment, knowing that it has already all came to be. You're just here witnessing the becoming of it in a linear fashion. As a quantum being, realizing that it all already exists. Reality is not static, but a continuous summation of all possible quantum paths, infinite quantum paths, encoded into your field as a wave of probability. And as you begin to take action, the path begins to unfold. Sometimes you don't know how safe passages or corridors are going to open up, how people or circumstances will be placed into your experience, but it's all interconnected. It's source playing with itself through its own creation, right? Through these different characters. And it's a beautiful thing to witness. And I love her.
𝓬𝓫𝓻𝓫.
Always. She always continues to speak. She told me today to tell my story. Last time I couldn't say my story of what happened. I understood, but I didn't understand.
Yes.
So now there's a head and heart coherence. I understand now what she meant. Last time I was here, she was telling me about my past life, which was just really, it's a
She gave you advice this time, right?
Yeah,
it was advice to give
it was a parallel life.
Yes,
it's time to have courage and see how your life expands as a result of it. It was most in resonance with my vibrational frequency at the time, where I was pulling and recovering memory from very specific parallels, where solar plexus energy coming up, you had betrayed oneself by reducing your light or dimming your light. And the dome on her head, represents a very specific sun, the central sun, which acts as a dome into different realities. It's a portal within you. Your DNA is a portal into all dimensional lives of yourself, into all parallels. It's within you, the mysteries of the universe are encoded within you. It's the memory of all of yourselves that you begin to uncover and recover. And last time I was here, she told me to hug her. And I thought I was crazy. It was the first time I had telepathy on that level. And Mahmoud, I dreamt of him 2 weeks prior, and he came and took my hand and wrapped my arms around her. And I knew in that moment there was intercommunication. There was this invisible blueprint. And the blueprint is within you. The map is within you. It's these internal networks that lead you back to your cosmic origins. You were always at risk of forgetting your cosmic origins, your etheric origins, when incarnating into this physical dense plane. But as you begin to clear and alchemize that dense matter, you begin to tune into your bioplasmic matter, which is elevating and operating in a higher octave, where it's easier, I'm hearing, to stream and anchor source throughout the entire organism. You can anchor your higher self throughout your entire being and become grounded and rooted in this experience. But you have to be present in order for that to happen. It is very different this time. Yeah, and she says that it's the solar plexus that begins to actually connect the physical with the non-physical aspects of self with the upper dantian, where you can begin to anchor your higher self and become your higher self in physical form and feel grounded and rooted in this experience, but also cultivate a strong sense of self-trust with this intercommunication, that you are guiding your path. The higher octave exists within you, it's not something external. So trust that. It's cultivating self-trust.
صور فيديو تصور اللي هي عاوزاه مقابل تروح تتصورها كان الجماعة قال 3000 جنيه
So, in this room, on the left, something very interesting had happened. Today I got clearance to actually come in and not just tell you my story, but actually come and show you my story as much as I can. And it's a very, very beautiful energy in here. This room is actually where I had my first extraterrestrial, which is an interdimensional contact, and it was a very, very interesting time. And so, it was in this room 3 years ago. I was sitting right over here, literally, when I had my first extraterrestrial interdimensional experience and contact. And essentially, what happened was a stargate had opened up, and these stargates are energetic projections that extend far beyond the human field, that are interdimensionally encoded within us. So there was a very specific dome, and I want to say a domain, where you could recover memory from this interconnected database. It's this invisible blueprint or web of energy where you can essentially receive a safe passage that literally is a rift in the fabric of space and time, and you begin to tune into quantum non-local connections that are always present, I'm hearing, within you, okay? On quantumly, these are always present within you. And essentially what had happened was there was different realms of hyperspace, different octaves and levels and realms of consciousness. And again, occupying each one of these realms, they're accompanied with different archetypal manifestations. And essentially what I had seen was this domain open up, okay? Now, what I saw in this domain was Osiris, the first one. And again, these are not just physical symbols, they are energetic projections that then, again, holographically begin to present themselves in front of you. So I had Osiris, Ptah as well, that came to be. I also saw Isis, Ganesh. I saw the Kundalini snake. And I was naming names that I didn't even know at the time. And in that moment, it became evidently clear that dimensions, again, are frequencies. They're not spatial concepts, as what the brain is formatted to believe. Instead, they are overlapped and overlayered with one another. And in this Indra, or this interconnected web that we're existing in, you have these different plasma-like life forms that are part of the counterpart Earth. And I'm hearing integrated or interconnected within this cosmic overlay, where you can actually receive assistance through this web. And it's like an etheric webbing, almost like a plasma membrane in which there is intercommunication happening with each one of these different archetypal manifestations, each different kind of like subdivision, if you will, where you can streamline and anchor this information that extends far beyond this third density, okay, this third dimensional experience. And you're able to anchor certain information that can become very healing because it puts you back into alignment with what your initial intentions were before even incarnating into this physical vessel, reminding yourself that you are more non-physical than you are physical, and you are the key to move freely between realms. So each one of these guides or archetypes, if you will, within this invisible blueprint holds the memory of who you've been, and I'm hearing who you are and whom you have always been. As source experiencing itself as the all. Essentially, what happened is I was waking up this fractal of consciousness of myself existing in this parallel life or dimension, this parallel frequency, right? And I was also able to perceive resonant deities. These are extraterrestrial beings, right? Which talks about your cosmic origins and the origins in which you originate from. And I'm hearing you have many points of origin, but all originating from plasma, all originating from the source. Anyway, it became very evident in this moment that on Earth there is individual separation. And as long as there is individual separation where you are compartmentalizing yourself from these low octaves of self, the version of yourself that is manifested through the natural laws of the physical environment of the draconian or reptilian star system or level of consciousness that exists interdimensionally within you. This version of self comes to form almost like shapeshift. It's almost like you shapeshift multidimensionally into this fractal of self every time you're in fight or flight response, or you activate the amygdala within the brain. And you can move up these different vortices. They're like kinetic velocity generators, if you will, that then become energetically projected beyond the human field. And multidimensionally, this is the architecture in which you're always shifting through. You're always shifting through these different eyes of the observer, these different fractals of self. So it's almost like when you're looking at life through the eyes of survival, or you're operating in fear, you're beginning to look at life through this fractal of self. And it's not about rejecting that aspect of self. It's actually realizing, okay, how can I kind of bring in a higher octave of myself and begin to heal? I'm hearing and kind of allow that to bleed in to your experience on Earth. How can you begin to shape your experience based off of love instead of fear, right? Fear is where you hold yourself back. How can you begin to fully, express your full multidimensionality, right? Realizing you are a multidimensional being. There are multiple dimensions and frequencies and densities existing literally innately encoded within you. So how can you reject one aspect of self, right? This individual separation that can happen internally within us also leads to an individual separation on Earth, on Gaia, within this cosmic overlay with that contrast, right? You're getting to know your light by understanding your dark, right? By getting to know your shadow. And it's when you begin to integrate that, then you begin to move through this experience very grounded, feeling safe and secure within this vessel as you navigate life on Earth. And that leads to universal awareness instead of a universal separation. But first you must become individually aware, right, of all these different fractals of awareness and allowing them to all become conscious of themselves. And I'm hearing come into, first of all, an internal co-creation before you can even have that happen on Earth. And the last time I was here, there was a individual separation that led to a universal separation. When it comes to the divine feminine, right, and nurturing the baby, nurturing your life on earth, right, the fragment of yourself existing at a high level of understanding and being able to be receptive, right, just as the baby drinks from the mother's breast, it's about nurturing and caring and tending for yourself through this experience. It's coming to that internal integration, which is to become healed. To become healed is to become whole and not separate or compartmentalize these different dimensions or octaves within yourself. And I'm hearing that begins to bleed into your experience. It's finding harmony within all of these different octaves and understanding what your biggest filter of perception is at any given moment on time when you're operating and navigating this earth. Another energy that was coming through is the solar plexus. Sekhmet was telling me, right? The solar plexus, when you begin to look at life through that filter of perception, depending on if it's in its expanded state or contracted state, right? Compared to if it's overactive or underactive or in harmony. If you're looking at life through an underactive solar plexus and that's your biggest filter of perception, you'll begin to betray oneself because you have not cultivated that self-trust when it comes to you understanding what is optimal when it comes to your journey in this lifeline, compared to cultivating a strong sense of confidence and self-trust, right? I'm hearing when it comes to mastering the way that you navigate this experience and realizing that you have this intercommunication with this fractal of self, and specifically Syrian energy is coming through with this. Syrian energy and mastering this intercommunication with this octave of self. And I'm hearing you have infinite chakra systems ascending into higher frameworks of existence, extending into broader universal truths, okay? I'm seeing look at your life on earth through the universe's eyes. You are the universe expressing itself and experiencing itself as human. But you're shifting the frameworks in which you view reality. I'm hearing every time you view reality through the eyes of survival or an imbalanced root, you will feel unsafe in this experience. You will look at life through the eyes of survival compared to a balanced root chakra, and that's your filter of perception, and that's a framework in which you're viewing this existence through. Your non-physical aspect will begin to feel safe and secure and stable and grounded in this experience. So what filter of perception are you viewing life through? The solar plexus is also boundaries. As Sekhmet said, boundaries. To claim your power back in this existence, you must become lucid in, I'm hearing your communication when it comes to your decision-making process. I'm hearing having respect for the vessel and your creative life force, your pure creative life force seated in this physical vessel. When it comes to this cosmic overlay in this matrix, it's shifting the ways in which you interact and engage with this matrix by anchoring higher levels of awareness, right? Higher levels of consciousness into the third dimension. And as you begin to do that, and I'm hearing awareness, this fragment of awareness becomes conscious of itself in this quantum non-local connection and how that's entangled. I'm hearing you begin to streamline these currents of information from this fractal of self, from this dimension of yourself, which is another frequency. And this is what it is that you will return back to. This is what it is that you've always been. And you're kind of shape-shifting multidimensionally between these different versions, depending on how you're holding your life force, depending on how you're holding your energy and exchanging that with the world around you, with this realm around you. On a quantum level, you want to be able to own and hold your space and your boundaries. not say solar plexus yes to things that you want to say no to, because that's betraying oneself, right? Being able to be rooted and grounded and feel safe in the way that you solar plexus exchange, right? Sacral your life force. While in this third dimensional dream, and I'm hearing that construct applies to all realms. That construct applies to all realms. So I'm going to take you inside the crypt that I had my Kundalini awakening in, this time 3 years ago. And it was on a Sunday, the day of the sun. So it's very interesting that we were guided to come back. Now I went in here on Saturday, 2 days ago on Good Friday. And this is another symbolic energy, because Sunday is like my crisis reborn, right? This is a rebirth. It's realizing that you can be reborn many times within a lifetime, and you can show up for yourself in ways that I'm hearing you had previously neglected, okay? You can be born many times again in a lifetime, even from the person that you were yesterday or 2 days ago, or even just a moment ago. You can, I'm hearing, begin to master your mind and realize that your mind is constantly shaping your reality, okay? Change your environment. Do not allow your environment to change you. So, I'm gonna take you with me in the crypt. And I'll tell you a story there. By thoughts, by decision, not just tell it, but show it. Who's ready? I'll show you. So, this is the crypt that I had my awakening or remembering in. There was a lot of things that happened in here 3 years ago, and it was in this crypt that I had my awakening. I was sitting in the exact same spot that I am right now. It's just, it feels like, well, a dream, and it is. So, essentially, let me make sure, first of all, it was in this crypt that I had my first Kundalini awakening, and there was quite a few things that happened here. The first was that I started to remember that I dreamt about everything 2 weeks prior. And I was sitting where I was, and there was a woman I was with, and she showed me something with her foot, and I saw this holographic, it was almost like a bioplasmic parasite of some kind, and I pulled it out of her foot, right, literally right here. She was sitting, like, right here, right? And I pulled this thing out of her foot, right? And anyway, I kept hearing a voice in this crypt say, remember, 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 remember. And I
was like, remember what? Remember what? And then I remembered Mahmud, one of the keepers of the temple. He held my root chakra and my third eye right here. And the root was the fear I was still holding on to. It was me feeling unsafe in this experience. And he helped me release that root. It was a huge stagnant blocked energy. And my vision opened up for the first time. My third eye opened up. And in that moment with the root that's connected to the DNA of the earth, which is the Akashic library, it was in this moment where the human condition lifted. It lifted. The human condition completely lifted. And I looked at life through the eyes of the soul. I saw this interconnected database that stores a living memory of all organisms, all that has been, all that will be, and all that ever will be. And in that moment, it was very traumatic for me because the human had to account for every decision that had been made based off of fear, and how that can limit not just your full expansion, but also the timelines in which can collapse around you, and how that can be limited, or I'm hearing limited to certain vibrational experiences that are in alignment with your internal state of being. And in that moment, it became evident that reality responds to your internal state of being. It's as within, so without. And so I was shown other timelines. I was also shown other quantum paths existing in energetic potential for me, including the one where I'm back in the same place that had this remembering, which is, to remember is to awaken and not really change who you are, but discard all the things whom you are not, which is fear. You begin to see that fear really is an illusion, and how functioning under certain belief systems, especially ones that you've inherited ancestrally that are continuing to be expressed through you in unconscious ways, can limit your experience when it comes to how well do you live according to love. Are you getting back into alignment with your non-physical or soul's intentions before this incarnation? And how well are you living according to that? So there was a lot that I had to account for in that moment. There was a lot of responsibility. I had no one to blame but myself. And in that moment, you begin to realize that, he who blames himself is almost halfway there, but he who begins to blame no one has arrived. And I had to forgive myself first and foremost to begin to shift the trajectory in which I would experience. And I was shown that there were other timelines that had awaited me, but it required me to release certain ways of being. It really required me to release certain connections and comfort zones, most important. And it would require me to take a leap of faith and an act of courage so that my life could begin to expand and flourish. Truly. There was a lot that I had to account for in that moment, but also a lot that was existing already, a lot that had already came to be. And I was shown that if I aligned my actions accordingly with all who I innately already was, that I would witness the becoming or the unfoldment when it comes to the human's full potential on Earth. To trust that internal navigation system and realizing that you know what's best for your soul's path. You know what's best for your path when it comes to what it is that you want to experience here on Earth. And so it was powerful. When I got out of this crit, I remember that I had dreamt of the whole thing 2 weeks prior, before even ever knowing that I would come to Egypt. I dreamt of the whole thing. I dreamt of the keepers of the temple. I dreamt of being in this crit. I dreamt that this was how I was going to remember myself. My cosmic origins, right? And so I came on Friday, and 𝓵 told me to take the same route that I had taken, and I was told to dig in this sand. Right here. And I dug and I dug and I dug, and I uncovered 2 Lemurian seed quartz crystals. This was one of them. I mean, I left the camera rolling for this on Friday, but it was dark. I don't know how much. I haven't even watched the footage back. And this. And also a third one that needs to be thrown in the Nile. But I was not actually looking for this. I was looking for an egg I had dug and buried here 3 years ago. And one of the keepers of the temple has kept it safe, so I'll collect it on Monday. But yeah, this was where I had my remembering. It was here that I saw the Akashic records. And you realise that fear is false evidence appearing real. There really is no fear. You are a limitless being. You are source experiencing itself through this vessel. And the more that you're able to release this fear, which is a very low octave emotion, that begins to pollute the runways of life force being able to flow through you freely. The source to be able to experience itself not just through you, but also as you, for your infinite potential to begin to bleed into every single thing that you do. And it's where your fear can hold you back when it comes to this. It's where your fear holds you back. Because you're worried about being perceived. Either you're in a state of survival, worried about being perceived, contracting your full potential from being able to express itself freely in this realm, or you're in a state of creation. Life is not about finding your limits, but it's about coming back to your limitless potential. There are no limits in this realm. You are not bound by gravity. You are only bound by belief. And interconnected with you, you originate from realms and dimensions where there is no gravity. These other distinct manifestations or life forms of yourself are manifested through the natural laws of that physical environment. There is no gravity there. Where you innately come from, there is no gravity. There is no belief. You experience limits in this realm just to break free from them. You experience fear just to come back to love. Are you choosing love or are you choosing fear? You cannot shape yourself through shame. You cannot shame yourself into change. That's what I learned in this moment here. You must love yourself into change. And you must love yourself enough to show up for yourself in ways that no one else is going to do for you. Only you can do that for yourself. You are a child of light, and let your light shine. So bright and unapologetically. This life in this realm, there's contrast here. This can be a hell or a heaven. It's not a location, it's a state of mind. Let's go. This is my story. I got briefed to tell my story. I didn't know we were going to do this today. Or did I? As soon as I saw the baboon
Yeah,
last time, I remember I dreamt of everything.
that's right.
I could remember. Oh, I dreamt of everything. I dreamt of Hamdi. I dreamt of Mahmud. I dreamt that I was gonna go to see Sekhmet and go to the Opet's temple and then go to Crypt. I crypt everything. I dreamt everything, and I
Very
remembered everything. So it was here 3 years ago. As soon as I saw this statue here, it triggered a crazy memory. This one is very special to me. This is we're going to take one photo together as well. بارك الله فيك.
بارك الله لا لا ما تنفعش حاجة.
مبروك. That's good enough. هي بتقول لك ان شاء الله هتتمنى
counting down the days.
هتكتب تاريخ اليوم وهتعد الايام اللي هي
ان شاء الله ان شاء الله ان شاء الله
ايوه